Hello viewers, Super GT here, back with more shenanigans for Mercedes. Let's have a look at how it's been going so far. You guessed it, I'm in 6th place for Mercedes-Benz. How about that? Obviously Toto Wolff not enjoying that because we need to do better than 6th. It's been going downhill since our win we had at Red Bull Ring. Let's have a look at the top cars for this upcoming race, which is going to be Le Mans Group 3 cars. The Nissan GTR going to be a prominent big boy at this one. Just look at the girth. The Supra as well, going to be decent here. But how about the classic, the legendary McLaren F1 GTR? This thing's going to probably feature. We'll see in the race coming up. But here's my car. Don't you just love the look of that? Oh yes. And I don't mean the car, I mean Nicola Pizza. I love Nicola Pizza. Anyway, I'm just hoping that one of these races, just one, by the old gods and the new gods, please give me a good race. Just one, that is all I ask. Let's get into it. First up, a little bit of a warm-up. And by warm-up, I mean warming up the barrier, like that, but also warming up this dude with a flag. Check this guy out, waving his green little flag there, with a very vacant, dead look in his eyes. And check this magician out, look. Just absolutely whips out a yellow flag out of nowhere, like an absolute beast. David Blaine over here at Le Mans. Anyway, here we arrive at qualifying. This was going to be an absolute mess. There was just absolutely no doubt about this. Le Mans, very long track. Very, very long track indeed. We're looking at well over 3 minutes for a lap. And therefore, apart from the Nürburgring, it's one of the longest laps in the game. Or in world motorsport, you could say. And therefore, qualifying with the slipstream the way it is, it was always going to be a bit of a mess. As we can kind of see here, look at this, everyone jostling for space, trying to get the slipstream. No one wants to be at the front of the queue because that person obviously doesn't get the slipstream. And the resulting mess looks like this, where everyone's kind of slowing down, speeding up, and doing the qualifying boogie dance, as we should now refer to it. But I found a kind of a good position here, behind this Mustang, behind the NSX. We've got cars queuing up behind, hopefully they don't go past me. I've settled into a decent-ish position here. You can see how long this snake is. Pretty much everyone is in it. As we come through towards the final chicanes then. So that was the warm-up lap. No, we haven't even started our actual lap yet. And you only get one chance here. Just one lap. So you've got to make it count. And I'm in a good position, I think. I've got a decent-sized gap from myself to the NSX. The NSX has got the slipstream of the car ahead, which is a decent car in a straight line, the Mustang. And therefore this should be, and I'll probably jinx myself now, but this should be good. I've got to make the most of it. So here we go then, qualifying lap. Q1 underway through up towards Dunlop. Just try not to bottle this. It really is about just making the most of the slipstream on the straights, I think. As of course we have so many long straights here at Le Mans. And coming down here then, dipping down to the left and then over the right towards Tertre Rouge. And Tertre Rouge is very easy to get penalty. In fact, Le Mans is just penalty city. I think we called it penalty city in the past. It is just one of those tracks. It's so easy to get those slowdown warnings around here. We can whip it forward a little bit. You can see just how much we gain there. And we've definitely got a lot closer, just purely courtesy of the slipstream. And therefore, our positioning was semi-decent. Down into the second chicane. Just holding station for now, just staying behind. And then on the run down to the Mulsanne corner. Let's have a look at this. On the brakes, nice and late. Closing right up to the back of the NSX. And the lap so far has been pretty clean. But we don't know if it's quick, that's the thing. There's lots of people behind us. You can see the train on the map, very, very big. Any one of those people could have a quicker lap, and we're not going to know until everyone has crossed the finish line. And coming down into Varns then, the NSX gets a little bit too wide and we're going to go past him on the way out. Now that's pretty much going to guarantee me at least not last position, because I started that behind that guy. I've ended it. I'm going to end it in front as long as I don't mess up. Therefore I'll be quicker than that person in the NSX at least. But now it's all about just getting a good final sector and closing out the lap. We still have the toe of the Mustang, which is quite handy, I suppose, coming down this little straight, about to come up after this left-hander here. So we have a good maybe 10 seconds or so of straight line here, coming up towards the Ford chicanes, and you can really clatter the curb here. Look at this, just dipping into the pit lane for an extra couple of meters on the way in, and then through the final chicane, using the curbs hardcore, and coming out. Look at that, we close right up to the back of the Mustang, going for a 3:55.0. It's the fastest so far, but not many people have crossed the line. So we have to wait and see what our fate will be, as everyone is slowly crossing the line. But look at these lap times. Lots of people 2 seconds off, 3 seconds off. And eventually, I was on pole position.
Yes! Well done, mate. Oh, that's excruciating.
That was well and truly a get in there, Lewis moment. And do make sure that in many years to come, that you tell your grandchildren where you were when Super GT poled it at Le Mans, as this is truly a historic moment. But here we go then, 7 laps of Le Mans Group 3 cars. Bringing it home for Mercedes, that's the aim. We had a win at Red Bull Ring in the Group 3 car, and I do feel comfortable in this Group 3 car, but this is just such a different animal, this track. This circuit is going to very much cater towards the big boys, the beasts, the Nissan GTRs, the McLaren F1s, the Toyota Supras, anything good in a straight line. The Mustang even, quite a good car, we saw it in qualifying. And already, what a cracking start that is. Signing in with a half-second penalty, ignoring the track limit. To be honest, I don't even know which bits. It must have been the second apex of Dunlop. But sometimes, I don't know. Sometimes I think the stewards might be drinking something a little bit too strong, you know. But anyway, we continue. We're going to have to serve this penalty. The first penalty zone is just after the first chicane, and that's exactly where we are going to serve this. Now look at this, right? I don't have the toe, I'm at the front. This is going to be really difficult to hold everyone off for this race. It's almost going to be impossible. You know, you're going to have to swap positions at some point. And we awkwardly go into this first chicane side by side, bit of contact, but he gets through in the Viper. We're going to go down to second. We're going to go down a few more positions here as we serve the penalty now, dropping down for half a second. The Mercedes goes past, the Supra goes past, and I'm going to tuck in behind immediately back into the slipstream. And that is just so key. So key around here. How many times do we talk about the slipstream? The suck forces of Gran Turismo being imperative, being deadly important. Well, today it's the same, but ramped up to another level. Le Mans is just all about the slipstream. There's just no other way about it. So we just have to stay in it, and we're doing exactly that here. Just trying to tuck in behind the Supra, but then coming into this one, there's going to be a bit of a misjudgment, and unfortunately, a collision. And it's just another sad day, you know, because I was hoping to have a really nice clean start to this race, and I've already killed someone. Just really sad, isn't it? That got a penalty, murdered someone, driven like an absolute idiot for the most part, lost the lead. The tick list is piling up, and it's not a good tick list. And now we're under threat for our third place even. And look at that, first and second are pulling away. I've got the slipstream here, and the Nissan GTR doesn't, but the GTR almost outpowered me there. Just shows you how much of an absolute animal that car is. But here we go then, I've secured third. You just have to have a good Porsche curves here. The main thing, right, here's the main thing. As long as I'm within slipstream range after Turtle Rouge, then I'm alright. We just got to make sure, therefore, that all the corners from here to Turret Rouge are good and slightly better, ideally, than the guys in front. GTR, very, very quick. It's looking racy, that's for sure. Come into the 4 chicanes then. Lap number 1. Lap 1 of 7. It's going to be just over 4 minutes for this first lap. Again, there we go. 4 minutes. It's going to be a long race then. Nearly half an hour. So we're in for the long haul here, boys. And girls, if there are any. I'm sure there must be some. Into Dunlop. Lap number 2. And we are clipping the chicane nicely. Just not quite as much as we did in the first lap. We don't want to get another penalty. Hopefully that's our penalties done and dusted for this race. We don't want to get any more. Because it is very easy. I'm sure many of you know that. Le Mans is very, very easy. Just to get one of those penalties, just to dip 2 wheels beyond one of the chicanes, or down these straights, because the track limits are kind of weird, and on the exit there, very easy. One of the most common plays, and look, the leader's done exactly that. And now the GTR's challenging me for this 3rd place. I just can't seem to hold him off. I've got the slipstream, the car's ahead, and it's going to be a drag race between the 2 of us. Still though, the GTR has such good speed. He looks like he backed off there slightly. So I'm just going to go defensive here and just cover the inside just to stop him going past. It looks like the Supra now, sorry no, the Mercedes into the lead, and the Viper down to 2nd. He's going to lose a few more positions here as he serves that penalty, which is going to be there. There he goes. Right, so now Mercedes 1-2. Where have we seen that? I can't think. Okay, right, 2nd place. Toto Wolff is on the verge of having a breakdown of happiness as the Mercedes boys running away with it at this point of the race. But then, it's early doors yet. We can't get too overconfident at this point, as the guys behind us still in the slipstream. And the car I'm fearing, I said this in the Red Bull Ring race actually. I was looking behind. It's the same guy, in fact. I was always fearful of that Nissan GTR because any car with great straight line speed, it's just not much you can do about it, As we had a brief look behind there were 3 abreast temporarily. The Mustang, getting involved with that fight. Into Mulsanne, lap number 2. Mercedes boys here, looking good, looking comfortable, but we're just waiting for that Nissan GTR. Is there going to be a McLaren coming into the picture as well? We're just waiting for them to really get going. So now, into the slipstream. We're going to go up the inside here on the straight and retake the lead. It's taken me a good 5 or so minutes from when I lost it to get it back. But we still have 25 minutes of race left to go. It's going to be almost impossible, as almost a repeat of the last lap there. I think he actually backed off as misjudgments galore into that corner, as I murdered someone else earlier and I almost got murdered there. But we continue, and just look at that gaggle behind. We're going to whip it forward here a little bit. Lots of straights here, so we're going to whip it forward a fair amount. You kind of get the picture on the straights. You're just going down in the slipstream of people in a straight line. That's kind of how it goes. But through Porsche curves, I'm just going to call all of these corners the Porsche curves because it's a lot easier, even though they do have individual names. And we've pulled out a little bit of a gap there. But again, it's unless you're going to pull out 2 seconds, it's just almost irrelevant because they're just going to come back at you in the slipstream. I felt comfortable through here, and just taking a slightly better line through that bit there, and you can run the track limit on the outside there on the exit. Another penalty, 1 second for the Viper, but you can see here it just meant nothing because he was in the slipstream, and boom, he's going to go past what he kind of is. He's going to make contact on the way through. And he actually lost all of his momentum because of that. And just checking the radar, someone just having a little excursion into the gravel. Couldn't quite pinpoint exactly why that happened, but that looked like the Mercedes of Fred Panda 90, who was in the lead, give it a lap a go, and now he's building sandcastles. Not ideal. Toto will not be happy. I think he's going to be slapping that desk once again. But now Now we have a big problem on our hands in the shape of a massive girthy yellow Nissan GTR Shirsat motorsport racing machine. And it's going to be really difficult to hold this thing off. This is the one car I did not want to be getting through to the front. I wanted it to spin off with a 5,000 second penalty, but that hasn't happened. He's going to I don't know what these guys are doing. Tried to pull out with the slipstream and then kind of went into the back of me. I'm not sure what they're doing. I mean, I'm okay with it. Bit of a bump draft. I'm going to stay in the lead. But I think courtesy almost of that bump draft, I misjudged my braking point completely. Didn't really realise the extra speed I was carrying into that one. And we're going to drop down into 3rd place. Here's just going to be a random shout out, a shameful shout out to follow my Instagram and Twitter, which are linked in the description. And no reason, I'm just going to say it, you know, just to bump up my numbers on there. But anyway, down to 3rd, Mustang into the lead, GTR into 2nd. That Mustang's quick in a straight line. It's not the quickest, but it is certainly above average. Supra behind. Now this Supra was the guy that I absolutely murdered, so he's returned from the afterlife, just like Jesus Christ himself. And I wanted to let him go, but I wanted to wait for a time when it was actually suitable, where I didn't lose any further position. So I did it there. As you can see, the guys behind were a bit further back. As I could have done it earlier, but you know, could have risked losing more positions. So just did it there. Let that guy go back through. Punted him off earlier. I think we can say that hopefully we're even now. I'm just very thankful that he didn't actually die on that lap 1 hit. Now look at this, right? The Supra gets a really poor run out, and I tried to go for the pass, and just run out of steam. Physics working against me here. No slipstream, plus just less power in this car, I guess. As the Supra, Mustang, and the GTR all really good, and it's no surprise to me at all that, you know, that these 3 cars have found themselves at the front. It's just absolutely no surprise. We do have a couple of Vipers here in this pack though, just behind. We've got 2 Vipers, and it's a car I didn't really pay attention to, if I'm honest, because normally the Viper is the laughing stock of Group 3, but here it's actually doing somewhat alright. And to be honest, if you think back, you know, cast your mind back to that Fuji race in Group 3, the daily race about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I do recall PR1 Will whipping out the Viper and getting some wins. So maybe it isn't so bad, you know. It should not be the laughing stock after all. It can conjure up some magic moments. Now this is an important phase of the race because I'm very worried about that yellow GTR pulling away into the distance and getting out of slipstream range. Drinking game for slipstream, by the way. Good luck. And you know, we are very reliant on this Mustang staying within slipstream. If we get cut adrift, it's his fault, and therefore we won't be able to win this race. So we really need this this Mustang to really get a move on. I was going to swear there, but held myself away from doing it. And all he's done is actually get a penalty. And the GTR, it's hard to tell at this moment. I'm 1.7 away from the lead, and in fact, you know, 1.8, 1.9. That gap is increasing, and I would say that actually the GTR is probably out of slipstream range now, and therefore can run off into the distance, which is a shame. But he gets himself a half-second penalty. He's throwing us a lifeline, and he's going to serve that just after that first chicane. So, okay, catch my breath for a moment here, because I thought the race was over in terms of race win. Talking about here, as we still have some cars very close behind. Is that a WRX? It is indeed. I'm going to go to the left-hand side, and the Mustang here is going to serve a penalty. And I went to the back of him, and thankfully that didn't end up worse than it was there. As we all continue, so GTR serves the penalty, Mustang serves the penalty. I'm going to move up into 3rd and tuck in behind the Toyota Supra. Now I can confirm that we definitely managed to keep up with the GTR. We were just within the slipstream, and therefore our faint hopes of trying to win this race stayed alive with that very moment there. That GTR getting a penalty at just the wrong moment, you know. just getting a little bit too generous, too greedy on the track limits, and I go a little bit wide here. And thankfully this Viper behind can only go to my right hand side, which would have been the outside. The race beginning to stretch out a little bit here. The GTR pulling away. The Supra now nearly a second ahead of me as I made that mistake. Tyres beginning to struggle in the 5th lap here. Hard tyres. You can use the mediums, but you do have to use the hards. So you can do a no stop on the hard tyre, or you can do a medium and swap over to the hard. But it is quite a long pit lane loss time here. Now catching up with the Supra once again, he backs out here, and I go up into 2nd place on lap 6. We are approaching the latter stages, and again he's thrown us another lifeline, a 1 second penalty for the Nissan GTR. At this point he's 3 seconds ahead. He's really extended that gap. I'm going to try and bump draft the Toyota, try to work together, but I think that was actually a bad decision, because now that put me under pressure from the Viper, and coming into Mulsanne, there's not all that much I can do here, and I'm going to kind of have to concede that position. The Mustang trying to get involved as well, but not quite able to get past. Now into here, just trying to not murder anyone. That's always ideal as we come through the left-hander. And the GTR is going to serve his penalty just around this turn, where we have another penalty zone. So there's multiple penalty zones at this circuit. There's 3, and the Mustang, the Viper just ahead, a little bit wide on the exit, but it's not going to be enough. He's in the slipstream. We still have this train here, so the Supra is in the tow of the GTR, then the Viper, then me, and then the Mustang behind. So 5 different cars here in the top 5. Good to see that. Always good to see a variety. And here we come then through the Porsche curves for the penultimate time, and we're going to lead up to the final lap, where hopefully we can get back at least onto this podium and bring home a decent result for the Mercedes boys back at the factory. And Supra's going to serve his penalty there, which is the best penalty zone because you don't lose much time. But look at this, the GTR into the pit lane. I did not expect that. I thought he was just genuinely quick, but he was on the medium tyre, so he's actually going to have to pit, go onto the hard tyre, lose a chunk of time. So that actually, this Supra is now in the lead. We are in a direct battle for the lead here. The GTR actually threw me off. It was not in the picture because he always had to go into the pit lane. It was never going to be a factor overall. So now it's really a battle of us 4 or 5 guys here going for the lead. And maybe it was a little bit suspicious at times. The GTR was very good through the Porsche curves, and I was like, how is this car so quick through there? Normally it's a clunky big boy and it can't handle. But the fact it was on mediums actually explained it. And we therefore are in a direct battle now for the lead. Let's see if we can do it. Lap 7 of 7. We've been going 25 minutes nearly now, and we're going to try to bring this race to a close with hopefully a better position than 3rd where we are now. I've been thankful just to stay near the front because there have been quite a few people who have had incidents, got penalties, and gone into the pit lane and fallen away from the picture here. But we've just managed to just keep it clean, keep it tidy, nothing too silly, keep it towards the front of the pack, and we still have a chance. You always have a chance in a slipstream race. Just give yourself a chance on the last lap, and you never know what might happen. And we have that chance now. The Viper going defensive, Supra going to the side, Mustang looking very racy, another Viper in the middle distance behind. Into the 2nd chicane. The Mustang behind going to get a little bit fighty here. There's a tiny bit of contact mid-apex, and we're side by side now. And unfortunately for me, I can't quite out-drag this Mustang. This Mustang is quick. Look at it go. And I've got the slipstream as well. There's not much I can do. I'm coming back at him. I'm going to have the outside line though for Mulsanne, which is the next corner coming up. The Viper behind looking aggressive as we hit the brakes into Mulsanne for the final time. And the Mustang up the inside with contact. And I mean, you explained that one to me. Supra getting a 2-second penalty did not look like his fault at all. He's certainly been hard done by there to get that 2 seconds. If anything, he was pushed wide. Now we've got this other Viper coming into the picture. 2 Vipers in the top 4. It was the top 3 temporarily there. And I'm going to go defensive here to cover off my position in third. Can we get that second? The Mustang into the lead. He started the lap in fourth, is now in the lead, and there's only about a minute left of racing. Mustang very slippery on the exit of Arnage as we come up to the twisty corners once again for the final time. Is there going to be a way past? Can we get back into second, maybe the lead? The Mustang looking very slow, look at that. They're both looking really slow at this point. I'm looking okay. Oh, actually there's a penalty for second. We should be able to get second then. Can we get the lead? It's going to be quite tricky. I need to pass 2 cars somehow. I'm going to pass 1 when he serves this penalty in just a few seconds time. The third and final penalty zone on the circuit is just here. There it is. And we're going to go through up into second. Just 4 corners left to go, or 2 chicanes left to go. Can we get past the Ford Mustang? It's a bit of deja vu from qualifying because we followed this exact car through this sequence. But no, it's going to be a second place. And to be honest, right, I know that I started on pole, but just to stay somewhat near the front and not die and not get a penalty and bring home a decent result in second, I'm just happy with that. I'm just really rather happy. I'll take it. And I didn't race this one again. I settled for the second, and I'll take the points and run. But there you go. I do hope you enjoyed. If you did, maybe hit the like button and subscribe if you're new to the channel. Thank you for watching, and I shall see you in another video or a live stream very soon. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.